Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make a meal that will make anyone grow nice, big, and strong. First things first, you've got to have a nice big glass of whole milk. So today I'm going to make a pot roast with mashed potatoes and seasoned broccoli. So I've gone ahead and I've preheated the oven to 350. I'm going to go ahead and turn the front burner on here on high. And then our ingredients are beef broth, garlic, thyme and rosemary, chopped up onions, 2 huge pieces of beef round eye, mushrooms, potatoes, broccoli, salt, pepper, and red wine. So once this thing gets nice and hot in here, I'm going to go ahead and take those beefs and put them in with the fat side down first and brown them all around. And I'm just going to get them brown on every side, and after that I'm going to go ahead and pour all of that broth on it, add the herbs, a little bit of salt and pepper, and the garlic, and physically put that whole entire pot in the oven, and it's going to cook for about 4 hours, which is perfect because it's about the length of a football game. So we'll go ahead and put the beef in the hot pan here. And, give it about a minute on each side until it's nice and crusty and brown. I've gone ahead and previously already seasoned the beef with salt and pepper on all sides. So we'll come back in a minute once these things are all brown. So as you can see, the beef's gotten brown on all sides, and it's ready for the next step. So while this has been browning, I've gone ahead and chopped up my mushrooms, which I'm later going to use to make a little gravy to go on top of the pot roast, and the potatoes, which I'm going to mash up a little bit later. I'm just going to cover them with water and boil them. And the tomato, which I chopped up and put on top of the broccoli here, and that I'm just going to steam while the pot roast is resting a little later on. So next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pour all of this broth in on top of the beef. One reason I like this meal so much is that after you've had a personal record session at the gym, it has all those nutrients you need to go ahead and grow big and strong, and it tastes really good. So if you're like me in here and you don't have quite enough broth to cover up the meat completely, go ahead and spill it all the way up until the meat's totally covered. And now I'm just going to add some rosemary and thyme on top of it. I don't really know how much this is. I've gone ahead and kind of squeezed it all ahead of time to get all the juices flowing out of these herbs. Let's get them all down in the liquid. And I'm going to add in about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. Give it a little stir. Cover it up. I'll go ahead and put it in the oven here. I'm going to put it in for 3.5 hours. Oh, son of a bitch. It doesn't fit. Did everyone see that? That was called improvisation. So we'll leave them there for about 3.5 hours, come back, take the lid off, and put the potatoes on and get the broccoli ready to steam, and we'll be in for a game day meal. So it's been in the oven here for about an hour, and sometimes at this stage I like to come in and just take a little peek and give it a little stir, and give it, more than anything, a nice smell to get myself nice and hungry. Because if you want to get big and strong, as I understand it, you've got to make eating a part of your training. That means you've got to set goals and identify priorities. My goal is to eat one of these entire beefs before the day's over. It's like Arnold says, if you want to be a champion, you've got to train like a champion. So the pot roast has been in the oven for about 3.5 hours, and I've gone ahead and pulled it out so that I can add some onions to it. So as you can see, during that time the fat is all separated from the meat, and it's getting very soft. So this is 1 onion that I chopped up. I'm going to add about half of that, and then save the rest for my mashed potatoes. The reason I didn't add all the onions at first is because if onions are in hot liquid like that for more than about 30 minutes, they start tasting pretty bad. They give off this extra flavor. I've also gone ahead and added some herbs and olive oil, salt and pepper to the broccoli and tomatoes. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the oven, uncovered, for 30 more minutes. And I've added water to the potatoes and a little bit of salt, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that on and let it boil for about 20 minutes. So I've gone ahead and pulled the pot roast out of the oven after about 4 hours, so 30 minutes uncovered, and I've now got it on a couple of plates resting, and we'll leave it in there for about 15 minutes or so. And I strained all the juice from it, and that's all in this container, and I took a little bit of that and I put it in this pan with the mushrooms and added a little bit of the red wine. I used Cabernet. I don't really know much about wine, but I found that Cabernet is pretty good. And give it in there for about 10 minutes. And now I've got all that mixture here in the blender. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend this up, a mixture of mushrooms and the broth and the red wine into the gravy. And you want to use the hot mat on here because this will burn the shit out of your hand. Okay. I've also gone ahead and drained all the potatoes and softened up some garlic and onions. You always add the onions first. And 2 sticks of butter and a little bit of olive oil. And added that in here with some salt and pepper and maybe about a cup or so of milk. And so we're going to let that all get blended up here and just keep mashing. I've also gone ahead and put the vegetables, the broccoli and tomatoes here, on the burner, and it's just on a double steamer thing here. And I just turn that on. We'll give it about 5 or 10 minutes in there. And now all we do is mash up the potatoes, and in a few minutes we'll be ready to eat. So I've mashed all the potatoes and steamed all the vegetables and started cutting up the meat, and I've made myself a nice little plate. We've got a little bed of mashed potatoes down there, a nice big portion of vegetables, and the pot roast. I'm telling you, it just falls right apart. But one little tip here, you want to cut it, as I have here, across the grain, starting at one corner of the roast and going towards the other. But otherwise, we're all ready to eat. I'm just going to add a little bit of the gravy on top of it here. And this is going to be viciously tasty.